that burns with fire and brimstone. It is the teaching that of hell as eternal fire, where people are burning there forever and ever and ever, and the devil is with them, and all of them out there in eternity, burning in the lake. Uh, that teaching is based upon a view that this lake that burns with fire and brimstone is a literal lake that burns throughout eternity, and that it is the beginning of negative eternity. That is the thought that I've had. That's what I used to believe, and what I used to perceive, and what many others perceive when they looked at the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, that this is the beginning of torment. This is where the beast, the false prophet, the devil, and all his angels, and where all the wicked, the unsaved go. This is their new home forever and ever, endlessly. And accepting that idea without discrimination, without research, it sets a rule in our mind that that is the case, that the wicked will go to this place called hell and will burn forever and ever in a flame, or in flames. And so by that particular perception, then the rule is in our minds and in the back of our minds that that is where the wicked will go and spend eternity. That is where the devil goes and he spends eternity. The beasts, the false prophets, all of the unsaved people go to hell. It is called hell. It's written hell in the English translated texts in the Bible. But if we will look, and the reason why we say that this class should be taken by our graduate students and our pastors only, because it is of a deep nature, and if people have been so inundated by the teachings, the traditional teachings, it requires a ability to open your mind and to be able to hold what you believe about the truth and not be moved by this teaching, because this teaching has some deep revelations in it that not everybody is ready to receive it. But I would hope that our graduate students and our pastors would be able to begin to think about it, begin to look at it, and because it's a kind of a study that you need to follow through with it. Follow through with it. Don't just get one part of the study and then don't continue. But you need to follow through with the study. And you need to see all of the things that are that help to explain this particular revelation. So what I'm saying is that apparently our perception of the lake that burns with fire and brimstone being the beginning of eternity is incorrect and inconsistent with the eternal plan of God and the gospel and what God planned to do in his restoration of the earth and the salvation of Adam. It is apparently in error. And I would just hope that you'd be patient enough for me to explain to you why. Revelation, even the very context of Revelation 20 and 21, there is a context. Revelation has a context. The context is the end of all things. Revelation 20, some Revelation 19, 20, and a little bit of Revelation 21. The context of it is the culmination of the ages. culmination and the conclusion of the cursed state. It is the conclusion of the cursed state. It is the end of what happened in the fall. Because you have to understand that Jesus Christ is the Son of God who has come to heal everything that was wounded in Adam. God's first son, Adam, caused the fall, and everything pertaining to the fall was caused by Adam's sin. Therefore, when Jesus came, and he came to redeem, to restore, to heal, and to get rid of everything that was defiled, that was lost in Adam. Now that is the theme of the gospel, is restoration and redemption. The restoration of man back to God, and then the redemption of man from the fall, redeeming him back, healing everything that messed him up, messed his world up. And that is what is done in Jesus Christ. And when you read Revelation, you read in Revelation, which is the revelation of Jesus Christ. And I would like for you to consider that there is nothing that Jesus didn't heal. In other words, nothing from the fall of Adam that he did not heal. There is nothing from the fall of Adam that will not be concluded, done away with, redeemed. Nothing. There's nothing that Adam has, or that the devil has put on Adam, that will ever have any everlasting effect. There's no everlasting effect to what the devil did in the Garden of Eden. And I would also say to you that in studying this passage, I would like for you to consider one thing, a point here, that it was never the intent of God for what happened in the Garden of Eden to be greater than what happened on Calvary. It cannot be greater than that. It cannot be equal to that. It cannot be equal to it. It cannot be greater than it. It cannot be as great as what happened on Calvary. What happened in the gospel outdid what happened in the fall. What happened on Calvary outdid what happened in Eden. There is no effect of Eden that is eternal like the effect of Calvary. And maybe by now some of you know where I'm going. I'm going where the scripture is. So, what we must understand when we read Revelation 20 is that it is the culmination, the ending of, the sealing of, the getting rid of everything that happened in the fall in preparation for the new heaven and the new earth, which comes and is unfolded to us in Revelation 21. And you can take this chronologically and you will be correct. You take Revelation chapter 19, chapter 20, and 21 in sequential order, and the events sequentially, you'll have it right. In Revelation 20, the lake that burns in fire and brimstone is actually, it is a symbolic lake of what happens actually. What happens actually here at the end will undo what was done in the beginning. where in the beginning man fell and the curse was put on this earth, and the curse remained there. Deceit and sin and lying and all kinds of sin. That's what happened in the beginning. What happened in the first 2 chapters of Genesis is fixed in the last 3 chapters of Revelation. Please make a note of that. What happened, the curse, the fall, man in his depraved state, what happened in the first 3 chapters of Genesis is healed in the last 3 chapters of Revelation. So the last 3 chapters of Revelation are the chapters that undo what happened in the first 3 chapters of the book of Genesis. I said that to say this, that the lake that burns with fire and brimstones is not the beginning of eternity, but is the end of the cursed state. It is the end of the cursed state. And this is the reason why all things are thrown in there. Death and hell, beast, the false prophet, all kinds of sin, all kinds of negative things are thrown into the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. The lake that burns with fire and brimstone is the incinerator, the burner of all things that will be done away with that were caused by the fall. It's like a big dumpster that you have out back of a house when somebody's remodeling a house and they're going to make the house new. Like, they'll have a dumpster outside where they take all the things that they don't want to be in the new house, and they take them out and put them in the dumpster and they incinerate and they burn them up. They get rid of all things that are not going to be in the new house. So it is with the new heaven and the new earth. Everything that's not going in there will be thrown into the lake. Everything that would not be in the eternal state will be thrown into the lake. This is the first point, and this is the base point of this revelation. This is the first point of the revelation, that the lake that burns with fire and brimstone, point 1 of my set of lessons on this, is the ending of the cursed state, so that the beginning of the blessed state, or glory, or what we call the eternal state, begins without the negative things that were in the fall, because they will be done away with. They are not as eternal as the eternality of salvation wrought by Jesus Christ on the cross.